every level of
Holocaust
consciousness.
survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty.
Consciousness doesn't make any sense. Sights, sounds, smells, textures, the warmth of love, the sting of sadness, the coldness of heartbreak. Why do we experience any of it? We've mapped out the entire observable universe, measured every single neuron in our brains, and we've even trained machines to think, speak, and act just like us. And still, we don't understand the most fundamental thing about human existence. Why does it feel like anything to be you? Why is there a little person inside of your head?
Dude, that's crazy. Hold on, wait, okay, hold up, I don't think y'all are grasping that real quick, hold on, that's brain amalgamating right there. Okay, your consciousness is you. Imagine there is a little human working in your brain. Like, that's you. No one knows what it feels like to be anything but you. So, like, imagine, like, you're yelling at somebody or talking to somebody, and they're like, and you're like, oh, I would do this. No, dude, only you know how you would do it, because you are you. Like, you can't think of anything, you can't think like anyone else, because you are you. You can't. If I wanted to think like Kanye West, I couldn't think like Kanye West. I would think like me thinking about Kanye West.
And consciousness doesn't make any sense. Sights, sounds, smells, textures, the warmth of love, the sting of sadness, the coldness of heartbreak. Why do we experience any of it? We've mapped out the entire observable universe, measured every single neuron in our brains, and we've even trained machines to think, speak, and visit your brain. Although it's something that every single person who has ever existed has experienced, consciousness is one of the most difficult things to explain or understand. Philosophers, mystics, scientists, and religious leaders have all come to the same uncomfortable conclusion. Consciousness isn't as straightforward as it appears. It unfolds in levels, and the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. So let's dive in.
I mean, yeah, like that's how it works.
Level 1, deep sleep. It's the most ordinary, yet the most mysterious state of consciousness. We enter it every night without thinking, slipping past the edge of thought into a void so empty that even the concept of it being a void disappears. The entire world dissolves, the self vanishes, and even dreams don't exist at this level. All there is a silent stillness that's vast and impenetrable.
Okay, one thing I've always like wondered, like, hey, look, with like sleeping, your whole body just shuts off, right? When you're in deep sleep, you're not conscious, right? Yeah, you're not conscious, duh. But I've always wondered what is it like when you think of deep sleep, do you know what it actually feels like? Because like you can think like, oh, this is what deep sleep feels like. Oh, I'm gonna go to sleep and this is what sleeping would feel like. No, you know what before you're about to fall asleep feels like. You don't know what sleeping actually feels like.
Consciousness doesn't make any sense.
Why does it keep restarting?
So empty that even the concept of it being a void disappears. The entire world dissolves, the self vanishes, and even dreams don't exist at this level. All there is a silent
Sorry about the
stillness, vast
background to
impenetrable.
area noise.
Although we experience this every night, it still exists beyond the realm of our understanding. Just like you can't understand what it's like to be blind by closing your eyes.
And yeah, that's another thing right there. No one knows what it's like to be blind unless you're blind. Because whenever you close your eyes or you think, oh, this is what being blind would look like. No, you're seeing black. Being blind is like me seeing out of my hand. You can't see out of your hand, and you don't fathom being able to see out of it, right? If you're blind, you don't see anything. Like, okay, again, whenever I say you don't see anything, your mind's going straight, oh, I'm gonna close my eyes. No, that's seeing black. Seeing nothing is like seeing out of your hand. Like, I don't see anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never, like,
You
that's
can't
so
understand what deep
uncomprehendable.
sleep feels like by taking a nap. All we do know is that one moment you're awake, fully aware of your surroundings, and the next moment you're awake.
Yeah, that's another thing. Hold on.
Is basically
Fucking
freedom.
E!
It's an open universe.
And fully.
Okay, yeah. Again, that's what I just said. We don't know what it's like to be asleep. We only know what it's like to be awake. That's just something that's always, like, concerned me, like, because another thing, I don't really understand how dreams work either. Because look, if you're truly in a deep sleep, right? Okay, look, if you're truly in a deep sleep, then how can you dream? Because if you're unconscious, is a dream you playing back memories, or do people? Because okay, again, another thing with consciousness, you only know what's you, right? Whenever you fall asleep and you think that you're dreaming, or if you remember your dream, does that mean you actually didn't sleep well and you still had a state of consciousness? Because if you're truly, hold on, when you sleep, are you fully unconscious? No, you are not fully unconscious. When you sleep, instead of your brain enters an altered state of consciousness where awareness decreases, but your mind and body remain active. Selective awareness, sleeping your brain maintains a sentinel function. It actively monitors your environment for important threatening stimuli, allowing you to wake up to sounds like an alarm, your name, or a baby crying. Active brainwaves, you cycle through different stages where your brain is highly active during REM, rapid eye movement, sleep. Brain activity is almost as intense as when you are awake, which is why you experience vivid dreams. Okay, so that just proved me wrong. So yeah, so you're not fully unconscious. You're just in a state of relaxation. So I just got fucking clocked. Never mind. Don't listen to what I said. Listen to the video.
Fully aware of your surroundings. But for a few hours in between, you are nowhere, completely oblivious to your surroundings. According to neuroscience, you're in what's called the delta wave state. It's a deep, slow rhythm that's pulsing through your brain at less than 4 cycles per second. It's the body's most restorative mode, where the nervous system resets, tissues heal, and your memory consolidates.
Just seeing in that video, I know I didn't talk about it, but how do you move during sleep? Because, again, with this also kind of relies into sleep paralysis, right? How do you move in your sleep if your brain's still awake, but your body isn't almost? Well, your brain controls your body, but then again, yeah, sleep paralysis. Why can't you move your body? Cause if you're just what? What?
This state is a necessary maintenance cycle when the mind is turned off so that the body can heal itself. But on the inside, something far stranger is happening. In this state, experience itself ceases to exist. There is no space, no time, and no you. It's as if awareness folds back into its source the way an ocean wave returns to the sea and forgets that it ever rose, that it was ever a wave. Philosophers describe it as a kind of temporary annihilation, one without suffering or fear. It's like death being shy. You don't know that you're gone, and yet you awaken, and you somehow know that you were. That paradox, to be without being aware of being, has haunted even the greatest thinkers for centuries. In the Mandukya Upanishad, it's called Sushupti, a state where the self rests in its unmanifest form. Buddhists regard it as a glimpse of nirvana without enlightenment, while modern philosophers see it as the ground zero of consciousness, the point at which the line between awareness and non-awareness blurs. And yet, even here, the seed of consciousness exists. Something knows that nothing is happening, otherwise you would wake up each morning and you would be completely confused as to what had just happened. So it seems that even at this bottom layer, awareness is still
Wait,
there.
hold on. Okay. Hold on. Let me cook. Okay. Whenever you're first born, are you scared when you wake up? Because, hold on, hear me out, right? Because as people grow older, and because people sleep every day, and not every day, but people sleep. Everybody who is above the age of 4 or 5 days old has slept. So those people who are like 1 day old, no, but they don't have a consciousness yet, right? Consciousness doesn't happen until it's like you're like 3 or 4. But are you scared? Like, okay. Whenever you first gain your consciousness and you wake up for that first time gaining that consciousness, are you scared, wondering what happened? Because if you just gain consciousness and you don't have any critical thinking, you don't know, you're a baby, you don't know anything. And so, are you scared that first time you wake up? Because it would really just hit you like, what just happened? Because it would just, you know what I mean? It would just scare, that's the only time you would wake up and be confused of what just happened.
It only with consciousness doesn't
Why
make
is it
any
doing
sense.
this?
Philosophers describe it as a kind of temporary annihilation, one without suffering or fear. It's like death being shy. You don't know that you're gone, and yet you awaken, and you...
That's probably my biggest fear, is death. Yeah. I don't. My biggest fear is probably death. Because you don't know when you're dead, right? You don't know. Okay, people that believe in, yes, Jesus, right? Yes, you would know if you go to heaven or if you go to hell or purgatory, whatever you believe in, right? But as soon as you die, you don't know that you died. All you know is it went black. So when you die, you could still have this false sense of hope if you still have a soul, if you still have a consciousness after you die, which I don't know if you do, I don't know if you don't, because I'm not dead. But if you say you still have a consciousness after you die, you wouldn't know if you died. For all you know, you could wake up in a hospital bed. Like, you could literally be hoping that you're going to wake up in a hospital bed if you still have consciousness. But if you don't have consciousness, what happens? Everything doesn't go black, because black is a state of seeing. You can see black. When you close your eyes, you can see black, right? Whenever you fall asleep, you don't see black. You don't know anything. So falling asleep is whenever dying is probably gonna feel like dying is what will happen is when you fully when it's like okay hold on let me go back. When you die, okay, when you're asleep and you don't know you're asleep because no one knows when they're asleep or else you would wake up. Yeah, because if you know you when you're asleep, then you're awake. So when you die, you're in that form of sleep where you don't know anything. If you have a conscious when you die, then you're not dead.
Earn Roblox digital gift cards.
Fucking Roblox!
May ever know, at least on this plane of existence. Beyond that layer of emptiness, there is creativity beyond human comprehension.
Love Roblox?
Holy
Earn Roblox
shit, I don't
digital
like...
gift cards with Microsoft Reward.
That's
Level
probably a
2.
scam, I don't know.
Dreaming. Fragments of thought begin to move. Images shimmer into existence, and without opening your eyes, you find yourself somewhere else entirely. This is dreaming, the first world consciousness creates for itself. In this realm, reality is all self-generated. The senses have shut down, and the body lies motionless. Yet, within the theater of the brain, entire universes are created. Mountains rise and vanish. Faces from memory blend with strangers whom you've never seen before. You experience an entire lifetime in a few minutes. One moment, you're flying through an endless sky, and the next, you're trapped in a room without any doors or windows. And the strangest thing of all is that it all feels real, or at least as real as your everyday waking life. From the scientific perspective, dreaming starts after deep sleep and during REM sleep, the phase of sleep in mammals that comes with rapid eye movements and more brain activity, which leads to more dreams. Your mind is flooded with emotions, imagination, and different narratives. Your body, for the most part, is still stuck in an unconscious state, but the mind is now free to wander, to explore the world it creates for itself without any boundaries. Philosophically, the dream acts as a mirror, a miniature version of existence itself. In Hindu philosophy, this is swapna, the inner world that reflects and distorts waking reality. The Greeks saw dreams as messages from the gods. Freud saw them as windows into the unconscious. Modern neuroscience calls them memory alchemy, where the brain mixes fragments of the day into symbolic narratives. Yet, none of these explanations capture the uncanny truth. When you dream, you are both the creator and the inhabitant of your world. Inside a dream, you are the laws of physics, the architecture of space, and the author of time. Every voice you hear...
Okay, hold on. Okay. With lucid dreaming is where you can control your dream, right? Lucid dreaming is where you can control your dream. Whenever you lucid dream, are you truly asleep? Because, hold on, let me go. Because look, you're truly asleep when you don't have a conscious. You're truly asleep whenever you're in a deep sleep, REM sleep. So you can still see figments of your imagination. That's where dreaming comes from, as we just heard in the video. And when you lucid dream, that means you have the ability to control your dream. To control your dream, you need to have critical thinking. So how can you be asleep when you lucid dream? Because if you're lucid dreaming and you're controlling your dream, that means you have to have the ability to think. And whenever you just normally dream, you're not thinking. it's because your eyes are closed and it's your brain imagining stuff. Your brain, you're not really connected to your brain. Your brain's just controlling you because your conscious isn't awake. But when you lucid dream, your conscious has to be awake because you want to know. Hold on. Voice crack. I'm sorry. Because your brain has to be awake for you to know that you're dreaming and you to be able to control it.
Is your own mind speaking back to you. Every face is carved from your memories. The dreamer and the dream are one and the same. You build a world, forget that you built it, and then wander through it as a character. But just like waking life, dreams carry emotion, consequence, and even transformation. A nightmare can make your heart race. A lucid dream can make you feel like a superhero. A positive vision can give you peace that lasts for years. For something not real, dreams leave remarkably real footprints. They reveal the creative nature of consciousness and a scary thought that reality, even our waking reality, may just be another dream. And perhaps that's their deeper lesson. Every night, as your mind weaves impossible worlds and convinces itself that they're true, it rehearses the same act it performs during the day, constructing experience from within. The only difference is that in dreams, you sometimes remember that you're the only one imagining it at all.
Albion Online is a sandbox.
Albion Online! Let's go.
Write your own.
Level 3. Waking. As you wake, you notice the red marks on your face, proof that you maybe enjoyed this sleep a little too much. Your eyes squint, struggling to adjust to the orange rays of the yellow morning sun spilling through the window. Outside, the green grass smiles as it's kissed by the morning dew, beneath a bright blue sky where shades of indigo fade softly into violet on the horizon. The last remnants of dusk from the night are gone. You are now fully awake, and your consciousness opens to the complete spectrum of experience. Not just colors, but also sounds, scents, sensations, and emotions. The orchestra of awareness that gives our world a shared meaning. This is waking consciousness, the state we spend most of our lives in, where thought, perception, and action blend into the grand illusion of solidity. Here, the mind and the senses form a partnership, producing what we call reality. You feel the weight of your body, the texture of air against your skin, the rhythm of passing time. The brain processes billions of signals each second, sorting chaos into order, randomness into patterns. Every sound, color, and shape is translated into electrical signals that are then interpreted as a three-dimensional hallucination that's just consistent enough to work. Neuroscience calls it the default mode network, the mental system that constructs the ongoing narrative of me and you, the observer at the center of the universe. But the longer you stare at waking life, the more fragile it begins to look. Sensory illusions tell us that we can't even trust our own senses. And even when there are no illusions, our limited senses compared to other living things.
Trust? Okay. That's another thing I've never understood, is trusting your own senses. Like, whenever someone says trust your gut, trust whatever, I don't understand, like, how do I put this? Like, whenever you're going to your senses, or, like, if you really don't trust yourself, then how are you going to have the trust to, this desk is wood. I can feel that it's hard. But if you don't trust your senses, if you don't trust, say, your, hold on. Yeah, if you don't trust your sense of sight, like, I look at that, right, say I look at my wall, or I look at this I'm looking at this American flag, right? I'm looking at this American flag, and I can see that it's red, white, and blue. But if I don't trust my senses, then I don't know if that's right. So if you don't trust yourself, then you can't trust anything you hear, see, feel, believe. Yeah, because you can't trust yourself when what you believe in, because if you can't trust yourself whenever you see something, you can't trust that you made the right decision, you can't trust anything you do, then you can't trust the self that you can't trust your senses, almost.
Tell us that we are not experiencing true reality, only the version of it that we can observe. Some cold-blooded animals can see infrared lights. Bats and whales have echolocation. And animals
Whales have
like
echolocation?
cows, deer, and butterflies can even detect and use the Earth's magnetic field. Even within humans, some people have synesthesia and can see shapes and colors when they hear music. They are...
What is synesthesia? What is that? What is that called? Synesthesia. Is that what it was called? People, whenever they hear music, they can see shapes whenever they hear music. Wait. Okay, hold on. Wouldn't it have to be a certain type of music? Because look, there's a definition of music. Trust me, I know this. I am a producer. There is certain types of music that is considered music. Rap is actually not. Rap and hip hop is not considered music. It is it's confirmed as rhythmic speaking. So if whatever it's called, Cynthia College, I don't know what it's called, but whatever that is, would it have to be? It couldn't be like, I can't put on some fucking Travis Scott and start seeing some shapes without some fucking LSD.
experiencing the world in a completely different way than all of us will ever be able to. So, if that's the case, how can we say for certainty what the real reality is? Time stretches or shrinks depending on attention. The mind edits and fills gaps, erases details, and fabricates continuity out of fragments of our experiences. You
Sorry about the
never see the
Terraria.
world
Actually, I'm
as
about
it
to
is.
hold on. I'm actually about to mute the fucking Terraria background. No, just you good. Okay. Hold on. That's not it. Bang bang. Okay.
Only as your nervous system allows. The brain isn't recording reality, it's rendering it, like a simulation running in real time. Philosophers have wrestled with this for centuries. Descartes wondered how we could ever be sure that we aren't dreaming right now.
That's also another fear. That's literally, I've actually, oh my god, I wasn't going to talk about that until they just said that, because that's actually been a fear of mine, right? Like, that's actually a fear of mine. Like, what if, hear me out, like, what if what if this is a coma dream? A coma dream is a dream where it feels, or what if this is a salvia trip, or what if your life is a salvia trip, or a coma dream, or like some just deep sleep, right? Okay. Salvia is a drug that you smoke, and it literally makes you become something. Like people will smoke salvia and become a fucking piece of like a cactus for millions of years, thousands of years, right? What if we just got lucky and this is a fucking salvia trip? What if like the dude say like me and a whole nother and like the actual world smoke salvia and this is just my mind, right? Or say like the actual me, whatever. Say the actual me got into a car accident and this is just, I'm not actually Prime Dill, I'm just a figment of my imagination. And it's just a coma dream. And the real me is laying in a hospital bed down the street, right? Or what if it's just, you're in such a deep dream? Because dreams, it's a fact. Whenever you dream, you can have dreams where it feels like you've lived for years. Like, in some cases, I think there's a dude in Japan. He dreamed, and he literally dreamed about a whole second life. He lived from birth to death, all in one singular dream. And he woke up, and he was just in his bed, and he had no idea what was going on because he literally just dreamed a whole second life. This right here, me or this stream, this video could all just be a dream. Like, it could just be some random dream on a random Tuesday in the middle of August.
Argued, consciousness doesn't
Bruh.
make any sense.
Where is it?
Have wrestled with.
Have you ever
Who
wondered
the
why
fuck
it's
is
so
that?
hard to change?
Who is this guy?
The good news is it's
It looks
not
chill.
because of you. Many
With this for Kant argued that the world we perceive is not the thing in itself, but merely a mental model filtered through structures of cognition. Modern thinkers like Donald Hoffman describe perception as a user interface, an evolutionary design meant for survival, not to express truth. In other words, your senses don't reveal reality. They hide it behind icons that are useful enough to keep you alive. And yet, despite all of this uncertainty, waking life feels different from a dream. There's resistance here, gravity, consequence, the shared agreement of others who see the same sky as you do. This is what we call consensus reality, a communal hallucination maintained through collective
Yeah,
thought.
because look, all life is a hallucination, right? Because you could really, if you really think about it, you could literally just be hallucinating other people. Like, that's another huge fear that I have. Imagine, like, you're just with some friends at a pool, and you literally just talking, and you just snap, right? And you're the only person on Earth, and you've just been in a hallucination of there's other people, and just there's literally no one else on Earth, and it's just you and nothing else. Like, you just snap, and it's just dark. It's just dark outside, and you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's everything you've done, you've seen, talked to, it hasn't been real. And it's just a coping mechanism of insanity.
When you wake up, you don't just enter a world, you enter a shared simulation, one reinforced by language, memory, and the stability of physical laws. But even this stability is conditional. The world we wake up into is built from patterns of experience, and experience is built from the mind. Every morning, consciousness reassembles itself, telling a story of what it calls today, forgetting that yesterday's story was equally invented. Waking life is not the opposite of dreaming. It's simply the most persistent dream, one vivid enough to convince you and everyone around you that it's real. For most people,
Oh, I never thought about it like that. God damn. Holy shit. I've never thought about it like that. Dude, if you can convince yourself that you're literally just dreaming, you can walk around like nothing's real. Like, look, I can just fucking kick my chair, but I've convinced myself that I'm dreaming, right? I've convinced myself that I'm dreaming, and I just kicked my chair, and I didn't actually just kick my chair. I dreamed that I kicked my chair. And you can just convince yourself that you're dreaming. But the only difference between you dreaming and you the only difference between like you dreaming and you're like actually dreaming or like you're actually asleep is you believe your senses, you trust your senses that you are truly awake.
well, this is where consciousness stops. We spend our lives cycling through these three familiar states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, calling that cycle the totality of experience. The mind rarely pauses long enough to notice that something constant exists
Get
in
down!
all of them.
What is this?
We sleep.
Holy shit, I forgot you were here.